Hey everybody, this is your host Eric Brown of NRE. It's been a long minute since the last episode of NRC New Reality Collective, and it's been over a year since the days of the NRC reviews. You're probably wondering what happened. So, 10th anniversary's here, everyone. I have been doing some work with wrestling content. I haven't done an episode of Overtime Wrestling. I did some conversation, and I have a big project in the works that are currently going on the wrestling side. There were plans to produce a Colter envisionment project where I was going to envision how I would want the Colter remake to work out, but it got delayed because I realized it ballooned out of control. And there also are plans to do an editorial piece follow-up to the Superman video from 2 years ago, after the trailer had finally come out, so hurrah on that. I'm planning to make that eventually. But yeah, and then I wanted to end the year off. I got wrestling content going on again. I have been having a more creative output lately this past few weeks since this year started. And I made a video on wrestling. I helped to get Overtime Wrestling off the ground. I also launched a new show called Between the Panels, because now I am moving away from the NRC review brand. I had plans to come back with NRC reviews. I had a bunch of ideas in mind, but then I started realizing that it's not really viable for that at this point because I couldn't promise NRC video content yet. But since I thought of Between the Panels and got a pretty temporary logo in place made, I decided, okay, so this is the new outlook for the state of the NRE, especially after I rebrand the channel as NRE Universe to be more of an all-encompassing multi-podcast network channel, featuring all my content and whatnot that I've made outside the NRE Wrestleverse project. If I could merge YouTube channels, if that was a feature that I could request, then yeah, I would definitely do that. But I can't. That's not a thing. So I could just encompass it all into the NRE Universe brand and just have it all be on one singular network. Kind of come full circle, because NRE started off as just one channel, multi-network in one, but then the algorithm wrecked everything. So had I thought things through and thought things ahead of time, I would try to get all the content that I make without the gameplay. The gaming channel would be separate, and our universe would host everything. But yeah, I can't do that at this point until YouTube eventually comes up with an idea to merge YouTube channels if you're able to. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. So, and all the data, subscriptions, and whatnot. I'm pretty sure there is a technology that can do that, but YouTube probably won't do that. But moving on from that, this more or less State of the NRE Universe address has basically State of the Universe address, as I call it. This has been kind of a thing that's been ongoing for some time now, as NRE 10 was kicking off, and I was coming up with ideas and whatnot for big projects, and I got my full ongoing editor, Leno, to help me out with this stuff. It's been a long time coming. I'm glad for that, to find an editor I can work with more and be more in contact with. Props to all the other past editors I've had over the years, but this has been a much rather refreshing take on this whole thing. Plus more affordable and more communication worthy. But yeah. Now, after all this has happened, I thought about breaking off NRE and the New Reality Collective stuff into like multiple different shows. We got the comic book side of things, which is Between the Panels. We got Overtime Wrestling, which is basically the spin-off of both NRE Wrestleverse podcast that I've ultimately canned, and also a evolution of sorts from back when NRC used to have wrestling news being put into this, and during the early days. There might also be separate shows for movie and TV show reviews. We'll see. And I also have other projects with collaborations in the works. I got another show in development called Generation Gap, We haven't been able to. Me and my buddy Kevin Sullivan haven't really made anything about it for a while now. I'm hoping to get all the episodes done. I was planning to revision at least 12 episodes, make it a limited series, and then upload them one by one as the weeks went by. And then we would find out. And then after that, I don't know what would happen. And I even got a new show in mind with another friend of mine online. Called Media Mausoleum, which is basically a look after all the lost media. We talk about lost media stuff, canceled projects, ideas that were never fully revisioned, a whole bunch of stuff with one of my friends, William F. and Hughes. That's also in a conceptual phase. We'll see, but it's ultimately going to be a pretty big project and whatnot. I have a lot of ideas, and I also have have more videos planned, and I stopped uploading the podcast stuff on Spotify because it just, at this point, I was just so focused on YouTube, I just kind of lost interest in using Spotify as an outlet. Yeah, so all the episodes and shows and whatnot have been moved full time to YouTube. And I do this even with all the work I've been doing in real life, IRL. So it's been a few months, and it's good to get this reinvigoration for content making. So I'm just gonna ride it as long as I can before I eventually get depressed, because depression is like an old friend that won't leave you alone when you tell it to leave you alone. Especially since we're gonna be through a lot of tough times for the next 4 years. Yeah, I'm going there. There are even ideas to do a political podcast, and where I just rant my beliefs and whatnot and talk about how I hate the world, essentially. No idea if that's going to still happen, but like, I already have some names in mind. We'll see. Depends on how insane things get, which has already started. But, yeah. So this was basically a brief opening, introduction, state of the universe address for the NRE brand and what comes next. But right now, I'm going to give you all some time to breathe, and I'll let you all stay tuned for this intro for the NRC return, and I will give you all the breakdown of the past week of news that came out, along with being born again. Peace.
Eric Brown, the creator of the NRE brand, gives his insight and thoughts on the world of comic books, gaming, tech, and media industries as the host of Neo Reality Collective. Experience a slew of regular episodes covering news and pop culture, along with reviews and editorial pieces showcasing the best and worst of our ever-expanding multimedia world.
Welcome everyone to Neo Reality Collective. I'm your host Eric Brown of the NRE brand. I am... It's been a good while since we last talked on the NRC brand, and there's been a lot of news going on, and I've missed every single one of them. But I have made sure to sit down, get the time ready, and we're finally going to cover the last week of news that happened, and yeah, we'll get to one of the big news that did happen. But first, let's talk about one of the big topics I wanted to cover. Born Again. Daredevil Born Again trailer finally came out after all this time, revealing the return of Matt Murdock, the Kingpin, Punisher, and Foggy Nelson, Karen Page. All these classic characters we grew up with during the Netflix era coming back, especially after it was reported what the original vision for Born Again was going to be, which was basically a full-blown reboot, which was going to insult all of our intelligence. So, Daredevil Born Again is set to come out on March 4th, and we saw returning characters such as Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk. I tried to pronounce his last name, I failed. John Brethel's Frank Castle, the Punisher, and he looks like he's still in his classic skull, even though Marvel Comics changed the skull look after a certain event that happened in 2021 that makes me want to cry every single freaking day when I have to remind myself that they got away with it. Mostly. And... oh man. And we also get the return of multiple characters along with those classics such as Bullseye coming back. We also get a new threat called the artistically inclined serial killer Muse, and Muse actually is in his comic accurate suit, which I'm excited for. And he was actually created back in 2016's Daredevil run by Charles Soule and Ron Garney. Back in 2016's Daredevil run, issue 11. So, more modern comics being adapted than they are the classics. But they did show the Daredevil iconic helmets, such as his classic red helmet, the black 90s helmet, it debuting in yellow helmet, and they showcased greatness out of all of it. And yeah, it was nice seeing those. I hope we get more of those. I hope we get all of those showing up in the show, or at the very least in more movies. Like Charlie Cox says that he wants to play the character for another near 20 years, so we'll probably get Old Man Daredevil eventually. I just love that he wants to commit to this role, and I'm glad to see we're seeing the Punisher again after all this time, because Marvel Comics made sure we kill that character off for good for some reason in Jason Aaron's run. And yeah, reportedly they were playing the original plan before the pandemic and before rewrites and revisions and reproduction began, where apparently Daredevil Born Again was going to be a flat-out reboot, where they were going to go ahead and have Karen Page and Foggy Nelson be killed off screen because, well, Disney hates everything. And then Daredevil wouldn't be the Daredevil for a while. He'd be not the Daredevil for 4 episodes. I'm not kidding. And that he would, and that a lot of things wouldn't have happened in the Netflix show, so everyone would have hated that, I'm pretty certain. But now that we got this back with all the bone-crunching violence and destruction and brutal action, I am more optimistic for this, and I'm hoping things work out. But let's see how Born Again happens, because they already have a season 2 planned already. We'll see how that goes, but I am mostly hopefully. And they also teased that Luke Cage might be back, Mike Colton's character, and we might get Jessica Jones showing up down the road, since with all the shows canon now, we would have a chance to bring back the Defenders, and I'm sincerely hoping the Iron Fist comes back with Danny Rand and Colleen Wing, because here's the thing, I liked that, because and there were rumors going around that Iron Fist would be played by a female character, and I was like, why don't you just get Colleen Wing, because, well, she's the new Iron Fist currently. Wouldn't it make sense to have both Danny Rand and Colleen Wing come back and, you know, continue their journey where they were at the last on the show on Netflix, just instead of replacing them with a completely different character? I don't understand Disney sometimes. I really don't. But yeah, Daredevil Born Again, March 4th. Get ready for bone-crunching violence. Speaking of the MCU, Sebastian Stan calls the Thunderbolts asterisk the Breakfast Club of the MCU. That's a pretty bold claim. Man. And how they say that it has echoes the same tone and humor of the classic 1985 comedy drama. I mean, like, if you ignore the violence, the blood, the shootings, and, well, the fact that all these guys have done criminally insane stuff, and some have done Black Ops stuff and have a massive shared universe, but we'll ignore all that. Yeah. And Bucky Barnes having to basically be having a, like, it's just kind of insane when you're making that comparison to the Breakfast Club, which was more of a 5 teenagers from wildly different high school cliques forced together and kept right by the vice principal, whereas Sebastian Stan's character, Bucky Barnes, is a formerly brainwashed Winter Soldier. We got another Russian soldier, super soldier. Let's see, we have a Black Widow, aka the White Widow. We have, let's see, someone who can phase through stuff due to an accident from the Ant-Man series. Taskmaster, who can copy any move, except it's not really Taskmaster for people. We have Bob, the most dangerous force known to man, if you didn't know who Bob really was. I just like how they haven't showcased the Sentry fully yet. They just showcased the logo, but I did laugh when they keep promoting Bob like he's the most important character in the movie. And I'm like, if you didn't read the comics, you'd be wondering, why is Bob the most important character? And then when you learn he's supposed to be the Superman pastiche, the Sentry, it's gonna be crazy. Though I did wonder at one point regarding the Sentry is, are we going to keep all the things that make the Sentry an iconic character, like the Void, and, well, the fact that the Sentry Bob has had a history of addictions and alcoholism and has a very questionable past with drugs and whatnot, like the comics did. And I'm pretty sure they're not going to do that because they wouldn't be kid-friendly enough and marketable. But speaking of movies that have questionable characters, let's talk about this incident. The DCU's death, aka The Flash, who was played by the criminally deranged Ezra Miller for various messed up reasons. So, we all know the story of The Flash, basically being this very big bloated budget and having a delay just to get the virtual effects on some level of quality. Not really, it did not end well. And Ezra Miller committing cult-like behavior, crimes, and they giving the LGBTQ community a bad name for politicians to use as an excuse to go ahead and say, see, I told you, the LGBTQ community is dangerous. There's Ezra Miller here proves it. Shut it down, boys. And whatnot. And that's not even counting all the troubled production, the rewrites, the replanning, the reboot, all these stuff that happened, and the artificial hype that directors and other people were making for, like, James Gunn's announcement when he announced the DCU and how The Flash was a, quote, fantastic movie. And I'm just like, okay, you didn't even praise the other movies. Why is The Flash so special? Which makes me believe that Ezra Miller had secret photos of David Zaslav, James Gunn, and Andy to go ahead and, like, praise this movie of mine, or I will destroy you. That's the only way this can make sense. And there was even an infamous scene reportedly where it was said, well, besides everything Ezra Miller was doing, that apparently one of the CGI effects involved making Ezra's butt look presentable for some reason. And to this day, I'm like, what did Ezra have on all of you? This is Batman and Robin level of ridiculous. And that had a more stable production. That's saying something. So, yeah, and then you had heard that there were plans to make the Reverse Flash be the main villain. That was canceled. That was scrapped. Then there were plans to use it as a soft reboot to keep the DCU intact, but change a few things around. There were also plans to just make it a standard Flash film, call it Flash, or just make a full-on adaptation of Flashpoint in the full totality of it. And then we got what we got. And now, Andy came out talking about why the film failed, and I was like, okay, he's finally gonna address it. Like, he's given that rare chance where he gets a box office massive bomb happening, and he's like, it's not your fault, Andy. We know it was Ezra Miller's fault. So we're gonna give you a second chance with the Batman Brave and the Bold film. And when you hear that, that's like a pretty good start to a redemption. Now, if he publicly disowned The Flash for being how bad it got and how messed up it got, it probably would have protected him. But, oh gosh, Andy royally screwed this up, and now people don't want him to direct the Brave and Bold film, because this is what he said. The Flash failed among all the other reasons, because it wasn't a movie that appealed to all four quadrants. It failed at that. When you spend $200 million making a movie, Warner Bros. Wants you to bring even your grandma to the theaters. I found in private conversations that a lot of people just don't care about the Flash as a character, particularly the two female quadrants. All of that is just that is just the wind going against the film, I've learned. Oh, you so it's the women's fault that this film failed. It's women's fault that this film failed. You mentioned that there were, quote, other reasons, but it's because women don't care about the Flash, even though there was the CW Flash that lasted for 9 seasons, even when people were like, can you please kill it off, the show's gone on too long. And even then, you still kept it around for 9 seasons because there was still a big audience for it. No. It's not because of all that. It's not because Ezra Miller was a public menace and starting cults and kidnapping people and committing assaults on the daily. No. Or thinking thinking they were the god of the multiverse because they were the Flash, and therefore they think they were both Jesus and Lucifer at the same time, according to reports inside what was going on inside production meetings, which should be concerned. But it's not because of any of those reasonings that would have made sense. No, it's because of the women. And I'm kind of stunned Andy did that. He could have publicly admitted it was the true reasons, and I don't think Warner Bros. Discovery would have cared because, well, that universe is dead. The last shot we got is Orm eating a bug sandwich. That was the last shot we got. It's just stunning that Andy did this, and I think it's so stupid. Now people don't want him to direct the Brave and Bold film because if he's not going to own up to the fact that the Flash failed because of Ezra Miller, all the production chaos, all the crises that were going on with Warner Bros. Discovery, if he's not going to admit to this, then why should we trust him with Brave and Bold? Even if he did good with the Michael Keaton Batman in the film, it's a Flash movie, not a Batman film. Though they'll tell you otherwise. Dan DiDio would. But yeah, it's just something that really that would probably wreck Andy's momentum when the Brave and Bold is eventually made and released. So Half-Life 3 has been a constant thing that people have been wanting so badly over the years. And Half-Life Alyx was teasing that there was going to be a Half-Life 3. Nothing's been made since, which was back in 2020. And by God, that was 5 years. That was 4 years ago. 4 to 5 years ago. Oh God, I'm old. I'll be 30 this year. Oh, man. So, yeah. Fans have been looking for anything to have waited for years to do something Half-Life 3 related. They were trying to get clues. They were trying to find anything to make this work, to try and prove that no Half-Life 3 is coming. They were hoping for the Game Awards to announce it. That didn't happen. They've been trying to look for clues with music with the code number 197. And yeah. Oh, man. And yeah, Gabe Newell came out and said that the reason why the game didn't happen was because he did just want to put out a game just for the sake of it. He wanted to tell the story, but clearly he lost track of what the story was supposed to be, I think. But yeah, we have been wanting to at least get an update. Is it happening? Is it not happening? Is it dead? Is it alive? And I think after the writer was let go, and then he published that big document talking about what was planned for Half-Life 3 at one point, or have Episode 3 be made, it kind of looked like it was dead in the water at that point. That should have been the last nail in the coffin. Then Half-Life Alyx came out and gave new life to it. And with that ending where they teased that there is going to be a Half-Life 3, and that Half-Life 2's ending was on Episode 2 was undone. But nope, we're not getting, we haven't gotten an update since then. So, would I like to see Half-Life 3? Yeah, but I'm just like, at this point, it's like we got GTA 6, we got Kingdom Hearts 3 finally, but Half-Life 3 is still in that state of perpetual, we don't know. Meanwhile, Civilization 7 has been verified for Steam Deck ahead of its February 2025 release. Rah! Meanwhile, the classic Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles surprisingly have new content. Please note, this is a game all the way back in 2000, and yeah. Jar Jar Binks has been added as a surprise playable character. We're getting content after 25 years for a 25-year-old game. This is where we're at now. It's kind of amazing. Meanwhile, Baldur's Gate 3 developer Larian Studios says that it's in full attention on its next game and media blackout for the foreseeable future. Promising media blackout for the foreseeable future, and there is a patch for Baldur's Gate 3 is set to come out. Larian has said its full attention is on the next big thing. I'm hoping for the best for them on that. It's not going to be a sequel to Baldur's Gate 3, nor is it going to be a D&D game, rather it's a brand new game. That's something Larian was apparently keen to move on after trying and failing to spark enthusiasm internally for a Baldur's Gate 3 follow-up. So that's kind of amazing. They tried and didn't really work out. They also said that Divinity Original Sin is also apparently in the cards, the sequel to it, although fans shouldn't hold their breath on it. And it's their own universe, so they're going to get so yeah, they want to go ahead and finish Baldur's Gate 3 and then work on the next big project. I'm rooting for the best for them, and I'm looking forward to what happens. I'll probably play Baldur's Gate 3 entirely when it's finally finished updating, because the patches have been releasing content after content after content, and a whole bunch of craziness going on with that front. Then the mods happened, and then we all lost our minds. Not only that, but Nintendo Switch 2 was revealed, and there are more details that are coming out about that. So that's why there's not the main focus on this, even after it was announced last week. But there is reports that there are plans in development for big games. It's said to, according to Nate the Hay, this is the rumor, a number of them are coming from Ubisoft, unsurprisingly. A port for Assassin's Creed Mirage, the upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadow, which has been delayed again, Rainbow Six Siege, The Division, Mario and Rabbids games, and there's also been rumors that Metal Gear Solid Delta will be coming out on there. It's just, there's a lot. This is just rumors. No, there's no confirmation just yet. We'll learn more later on in the next month. But also, reportedly, according to Nate the Hay, there was rumors going around that Halo will finally be making the jump to PlayStation. And of course, we had the Sony tribalists and the Xbox tribalists lose their ever collective minds over it, saying it's the death of Xbox and whatnot. And my response to Halo coming to PlayStation after all this time, for the first time ever, has basically been, cool. If it's cross-platform, I will be all for it. So then we can get some life back in the Master Chief Collection, because now the hackers have begun to attack. Halo Infinite, still on the jury on that one. Meanwhile, there is now reports that the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster is not even a remaster. No, it's a full-blown remake. Yeah, a full-blown remake to an iconic game. Yeah, it's gonna have a fresh engine. Oh man, it's pretty wild to hear that according to leaked information, Oblivion Remaster went to Oblivion Remake according to the internal documents from 2022. Then there was the whole Doom Year Zero DLC, Project Kestel, Project Platinum, Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 3 Remaster. Like, they're bringing back a lot of old games back and remaking it or remastering it into a much more broader audience. I hope things work out for them, and I sincerely hope Elder Scrolls 4 ends up continuing being the iconic game that many people remember it being, and not being the slog that nowadays Bethesda games are made. Honestly, I kind of still wish Obsidian was allowed to make Fallout and Elder Scrolls spin-off games on their terms, but even though both Obsidian and Bethesda are owned by Microsoft, nothing's been done about that, even though they want to do that, even though they want to do a follow-up to New Vegas, which would be awesome. Meanwhile, Until Dawn, the remake, remastered game they released back in 2015 and then later coming out last year for a second round. So the film they're making is not a full-on Until Dawn film. Yeah. Teenagers are stuck in a time loop where each cycle is a different horror genre. Instead of being the teenagers are being tricked that there's a serial killer after them, only to reveal it's one of their own, and that there's actually real creatures called Wendigos coming after them. No, it's just a time loop cycle thing. Weird. Strange idea to change the very core of what Until Dawn's supposed to be, but okay. It ceases to be really Until Dawn. Anyways, Bethesda talks about why they cut gore and dismemberment from Starfield, and it was revealed they had planned to include that at one point, but then had to remove it due to, quote, technical limitations. And saying because the interactions with the spacesuits became too complex. Why is it that the modders could do it, though? No answer, got it. So, Marvel Rivals launched their first season and also launched who many people are now praising as the best girl in the game, Susan Storm and the Fantastic Four, but everyone's more focused on Susan Storm and how hot she is and whatnot. Marvel Rivals developers promise a new hero every month and a half, every 90 days. Hurrah! And look, I've been trying to get into it. I've lost every match, despite how good I get in the matches with the kill and whatnot. But I am not a strategist, so I'm pretty bad at this in terms of getting the game done and winning. And then everything just self-destructs afterwards, and I get mad. Also, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League received its final update, which also, with the promised offline mode, adds an official ending to the story that wraps up rather obviously. So, the thing they did was that it's revealed that the Justice League, along with the Arkham Batman, is not the real Arkham Batman and the Justice League they killed. No. They were all clones. Well, except for Wonder Woman. For some reason, they killed her off for some odd reason. Kevin Conroy's Batman was killed off. But, oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. So, it was reported that was the plan this whole time, that they were going to be that the Justice League were going to be clones, but no, it turns out Wonder Woman was the only one that wasn't a clone and ultimately died. And my response to that is, what? Also, why did you kill off Wonder Woman? And look, here's the thing. People to this day were still outraged over what they did to Batman in this game, especially since it was one of Kevin Conroy's last roles playing Batman in any medium. The last real appearance was him being the original DCAU Batman from Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, where he toes ahead and talks to Mark Hamill's Joker one more time and talks about how he's going out being Batman, which was an awesome scene. But it's just like, God, how do I even explain this? I think it's like more like, it's not a matter that they killed Arkham Batman. Well, that is one of the big problems they have, but since that's been fixed now, it's just that, how do I say this? even if you bring back Arkham Batman into a future game, because they are planning to return to that universe again with another Batman game, it just, Kevin Conroy is now voicing him. There's no more Kevin Conroy to voice the iconic Batman or Arkham Batman, so it wouldn't really be Batman without, well, Kevin Conroy for many. It's just, so that's why people are hoping that when the new Arkham game comes out, of the Arkhamverse, it's Batman Beyond and not Kevin Conroy's Batman playing this. They want Tyler McGinnis for the next Batman game because they feel like, well, we can still have Arkham Batman around, but he wouldn't really be Kevin Conroy voicing him because Kevin Conroy's not with us anymore, and it's pretty hard to imagine he's not planning for that eventuality, like he's really Batman in real life, where he's like, I'm going to go ahead and make over millions of voice recordings of myself, like I'm Vincent Price. Seriously, that's still insane that Vincent Price somehow had recordings ahead 20 years prior to a film being finished. The Thief and the Cobbler, as we all remember it. So, Games Workshop, the people who helped create the Warhammer universe, and their Warhammer Space Marine 2 game was a smash hit for Saber Interactive. And it changed everything for Saber Interactive. Games Workshop is on the hunt for the next big Warhammer video game. My God. And I'm wondering how they can go ahead and make this work. It'd be pretty crazy to see how it goes. They're pretty confident now of the Warhammer universe. I think they should have always been confident in it, but like they've been having a crazy last 2-3 years with the Warhammer universe, and Saber Interactive Space Marine 2 was phenomenal for many, and people even think it should have won Game of the Year. The other one, they already have plans for the Space Marine 3 storyline, but we'll see how all that goes. But when I heard that Saber Interactive was made this game, when I learned that officially, I was like, okay, I have more hope in them making Colter Remake now. Just depends on how Disney handles it, though. Meanwhile, Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Assassin's Creed Origins, which I must stress, Origins has been around for, what, like a decade by now? Well, they all finally got fixed on Windows 11, but Assassin's Creed Odyssey remains broken because, of course. How does that happen? I was stunned when I heard that, but okay. Meanwhile, Captain America Brave New World's runtime just got leaked. It will come under 2 hours and 7th shortest out of 35 films overall. It will be the shortest MCU film and the shortest Captain America film yet. Coming in at, let's see, the shortest was the Marvels at 1 hour and 45 minutes. And, yeah. And there were a bunch of rewrites and reshoots, but, Brave New World is going to be 1 hour and 58 minutes, and it's going to be one of the few MCU films to be under 2 hours, and the 7th shortest one of the films overall, which says a lot. Meanwhile, as Vision Quest starts to get ready, we also heard the return of Ultron is coming, so be excited for the return of Ultron in some form or fashion. But we're getting another classic villain coming back after nearly 2 decades. 2008's Iron Man, the movie that started the whole universe. Raza is coming back from Iron Man. Yeah, the actor's coming back to reprise his role after almost 2 decades. And oh, this is going to be fun to see. I'm hoping Vision Quest is going to be awesome, and we finally get more progress on how Vision Quest is going to go for the new returning Vision under the white armor, and how we get Ultron taking his place in the role. He'll probably be reincarnated and whatnot. I don't know how he'll be coming back. I think he'll be a program inside Vision's head, and it'll be like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of relationship, like Hulk was. But yeah, they need a new version of the Hulk with having Vision and Ultron combating for dominance. We'll see. Meanwhile, Black Ops 6. So they announced the Zombie Season 2 plan, including a new tomb map and more quality of life changes. Can we get rid of all the AI that you put in there, Activision? Can we get rid of that? It stopped using AI techniques, and then they lost the zombie actors like Weaver because you used freaking AI and are ruining the game for people who are dropping like flies because you put AI in there, even with Squid Game being around. And I must stress, I was kicking ass in that game mode, so I hope there's a feature like that permanently. But yeah, that was fun. That's been a fun thing. I even completed the entire challenges for that and unlocked everything. Hooray! Meanwhile, Grand Theft Auto 5. Let's see, Grand Theft Auto 6 is set to come out. They keep confirming that it's committed to making it come out this year. But we'll see. Grand Theft Auto 6, let's hope things work out. But GTA 5 had a very ambitious mod being developed called GTA 5 Liberty City, which was basically recreating the setting of GTA 4 as a mod for GTA 5. And just after it was finally done, after years of development, the Liberty City Preservation Project was destroyed by Rockstar. Yep. They, after several years and spending God knows how much money recreating Liberty City for this preservation project, Rockstar comes at them and sends them a cease and desist letter. It's a follow-up to a AI-powered GTA 5 story mode mod, a VR mod for Red Dead Redemption 2, a Grand Theft Auto Vice City mod within GTA 5, because Rockstar hates you. And I'm just like, dude, Rockstar, look, I get you want to protect your stuff, but can you at least hire the modders and use what they developed to make spin-off games of it like you used to do back in the day? Or with GTA 3, GTA Vice City, GTA San Andreas, you had plans to do a GTA Tokyo. Like, hire them to make this mod be an official product for GTA 4 Remaster, because people have been wanting that for a long freaking time. And heck, a VR mod for Red Dead Redemption 2? Holy that'd be awesome. Let's make that an official product. Let's make a remaster for GTA Vice City with these guys instead of using the fake quote trilogy you re-released that was horrible and it finally got fixed after 2 years. But yeah, Rockstar Games continues to piss everyone off. Way to go on that. But yeah, that's it for that week of news. I am hoping that things work out for me in this long run with the show. I'm hoping to get back on track with content making on the Neo Reality Collective side. We'll see, but we're going on a case-by-case basis on this front. We'll see where that goes, but stay tuned for this last outro, and I'll see y'all again next time. This is your host, Eric Brown of Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, check out our content in the description below. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see y'all again next time. And NRE 10 has been a wild ride so far for me. Content output, insane. Peace and take care, everybody, and take care of yourselves and each other.
And that was our latest edition of Neo Reality Collective. Be sure to follow and support NRE creator Eric Brown on Twitter and YouTube. Check the links in the description below, and we'll see you all next time.